Well, that's cracking, everybody. How's it going? I thought I'd do a Dungeonborne and Darker comparison. I'll go into a little bit of detail on why I think the games aren't the same and what separates them. So let's get straight into the vid. Now, in Dungeonborne, you're allocated two active specials. So in the Rogue's case, Petrifying Poison and Vanish. You have a bunch of different stats for each class that are tuned in different ways. But then you have these breakpoints. So you'll see it says ambush, strength 29. So once we've hit 29 strength, we now get increased lifesteal by a moderate number when we stealth. And when we get to 60 strength, petrifying poison can be applied to our crossbow bolts. And if we move over to here in dexterity, we get evaporate at 62 dexterity. So we enter stealth after killing an enemy. And then at 93 dexterity, we get Featherfoot. Entering stealth increases movement speed for 5 seconds, gradually decaying. And when we get stamina, at 36, we get Toxic Cloak. So after successfully petrifying poison an enemy, enter stealth. That's it. So we have a bunch of different little modifiers depending on what our stats are, what they look like. So you don't see any changes in your character in this game unless you have gear. Darker has a perk system. You'll notice that there's 4 available passives to have at any given time. And then you have a bunch of passives to choose from outside of that. There's 2 active abilities in Darker 2 with some options to swap out. These are extra options that Dungeonborne doesn't have. And also, if you look at the different stats that we have here, and the build diversity, you're able to have, for example, a magic rogue that benefits off poison weapon with scaling magic damage. And you're able to stack armor pen and combine it with weak point and thrust, for example, to have an armor pen build. The point that I'm making is there is a lot more build diversity with Darker compared to Dungeonborne. I've been seeing a lot of comparisons between Dungeonborne and Darker. And the whole conceptual idea is the same as Darker, but this game, Dungeonborne, is faster. There are new mechanics such as the charged heavy attack and the blocking / parry system. So in this game, Dungeonborne, when you parry, you take, I believe it's 75% damage of what you would normally take, and when you're blocking, you take 90% damage. You can see that we took very minor damage there. This is the charged heavy attack. There's also a parry system too. A lot of the assets are the same, so a lot of things will look very similar to Darker. But one thing that I do like about this game, Dungeonborne, is that things are illuminated a lot more. Now, a lot of people have also said that the game feels slow and clunky. And I think what they mean is like when you have a heavy sword like this two-hander here, and you swing it, there's kind of like a delay. And I think it's for balancing purposes. I don't want us to swing too fast, but it doesn't feel flowy like Darker does. Here's what a match would look like in Dungeonborne. So you spawn in much the same as Darker, just a random spot on the map. And because I have some perks set up, you can see now that I enter stealth and I can start backstabbing enemies, which is also another mechanic that I forgot to mention that this game has. As a rogue, if you're behind an enemy, you'll do a backstab, as you can see here. And because I have the passives unlocked, I will get a stealth after a kill, and I will also get lifesteal after hitting an enemy out of stealth. It has a similar loot grade system to Dark and Darker as well, with the common gear, the green gear, blue gear, purple gear, legendary gear. So this warrior that I encountered here, I decided to go in on him because he had his crossbow out, and I thought I could get some free damage. You can see the parry system in effect there. Parry slash block. I guess it's more of a weapon block, but you take parry damage with a weapon block. Unless you have a shield, you'll take the 75% damage. If you have the shield, you'll take 90% less damage. So I'm actually not max level yet. I'm only level 12 or something, I think, in this clip. So my damage is lacking, to say the least. You can see that I fully parried the whirlwind there. And if I didn't do that, I would have died for sure. Loading up the crossbow, just going to try and get some poke damage on him. It's unfortunate that I hit that brick wall there. I don't know how much he's healed. I think he bandaged, and I didn't anticipate how much he actually healed here, but I thought I could get the jump on him and get a bit of extra damage. But he gets a whirlwind off, and I fail to block it, and I die, unfortunately. But what rogues can actually do... Oh, there you go. I'm only level 10. What rogues can actually do in this game is you can petrify someone. So if you want to reset the fight, you can petrify them. So you just stun them. Or you can stun them and heal. But I couldn't get that off, unfortunately. In my conclusion of the two games and the comparisons, I would say that Dark and Darker is literally the dark and gritty hardcore version of the dungeon extraction looter. And Dungeonborne is the fast-paced, more arcadey style game. If you want to jump in, like similar to Call of Duty, just a quick lobby and frag some people, I think this is the better game for that. Dark and Darker has very, very precise hitboxes, and the enemies are in the same respect. So I feel like the learning curve is much steeper. Also, there's a bunch more traps and dangers in Dark and Darker than there is in Dungeonborne. So yeah, Dungeonborne's definitely more casual. And I hope this video was helpful to you guys. And other than that, enjoy your day/night, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.